for the components of home-based care to work, there must be stakeholders or people that will be able to put into place or into action the components of home-based care. So you need nurses to do nursing care, you need people to do counseling and spiritual care, you need people to do clinical care, that is clinical medical doctors. You only need these people in order for them to do to accomplish these components of medical care. So today, I want us to look at the stakeholders that normally contribute or providers of home-based care. So this include the patient or the client themselves, or either the client as a woman or a lady, as well as the client or as a male or a man. So another home-based care provider is the family members and the caregivers who normally take good care of this person. Then you have home care team. This includes clinical health workers who normally supervise and train both the community members as well as the family members and caregivers on how to provide effectively home-based care. Then we have health workers, which include nurses, which include clinical doctors, which include counselors, which will also include nutritionists, all these people that normally provide health services to this individual at home, home-based care. Then you have another stakeholder, that is the community. This is the community at which this person lives. Since still this community have to provide some level of support to either the family members or even the client staying among themselves. Because once the community neglects that, once the community starts to discriminate this individual, definitely this individual's condition will deteriorate. Then we have the government, which comes with policies, which provide drugs, which train doctors and nurses, which provide a lot of normally come up with policies and standards on how to take care of these individuals at home-based care, or the guidelines that are normally followed in home-based care. So those are the stakeholders that I want us to go through one by one. And all of these providers have a role to play in the delivery of home-based care. Some aspects of the role are very unique. For example, doctors giving treatment that is unique to them. You will not find nutritionists providing that treatment. You will not find spiritual players or spiritual individuals or pastors providing treatment, because some of these roles are very specific to a specific individual or a specific stakeholder, but others overlap. For example, offering emotional support. A doctor can offer emotional support. The family also can offer emotional support. The pastor will also provide emotional as well as spiritual support. So some of these roles normally overlap to some extent between the stakeholders. Then every function is important and none should be thought to be inferior than others. Doctors don't think that the treatment is inferior than what the pastor is providing, or the spiritual care. Then the spiritual care pastor does, they're not supposed to think that whatever they're providing is so superior than what the caregivers are providing, because this is a comprehensive, as we already said, home-based care is a comprehensive care that provide comprehensive services that are very vital or are very important for the benefit or for the well-being of the individuals that are sick. Let's start with the role of the patient. The patient is one of the main players in home-based care, because when the patients are not very sick, they may provide their own care. So if they're too sick, that's when they require someone's help to take care of themselves. So their role include the following. Number one is to identify the primary or alternative caregiver. Caregivers are not supposed to be forced to this individual. They're supposed to choose whoever that they will feel okay to be with, whoever that they will feel safe to be with. Then another role is to participate in the care process, but not passively, especially in making decisions on own welfare. They're supposed to be very active in the care process, because once they are not willing to be helped, definitely not be able to help this individual. If at all they don't want to be treated, if at all they don't want to be supported emotionally, you will not force them. So they have to be there, or they have to participate in the care process. Another role is, if possible, give consent on caregivers and where the care will be provided. For example, home or hospital, especially during the terminal phase. The terminal phase is the term, or is the phase, or is the stage at which this disease, it is on its final stage where this individual is almost dying. So at that point, they're supposed to either choose, am I going to die at home, or am I going to die in the hospital? So if I'm going to die in the hospital, I need to inform my caregiver and give them the consent or permission to either take me to the hospital or just to let me die at my home bed. So they're supposed to give consent to the caregivers on where they need to be treated at the very terminal end. So those are the roles of the patient, and this will enable them to be active in the home-based care system. Then let's go to the next role of family members and caregivers. And these family members include the sick person's family members, relatives, friends, and other caregivers who play an important role in provision of home-based care. So we are including caregivers, which includes nannies, which includes this person or this neighbor who is offering the care to these individuals. What are the role of these individuals in home-based care? Number one is to learn to accept and adjust to the situation, because once the family members deny, or they are still in denial that this individual is suffering from HIV and AIDS, they will not be able to even be trained well on how to take care of this individual, because they'll see this individual as just sick due to just a mere any other type of disease. So they will not be able to fully help this individual. They will not be able to fully understand what this individual is suffering from. So they really need to accept and adjust to the situation. Then number two is collaborate with other stakeholders. They're the ones supposed to look for pastors if in case this person needs spiritual care. They're the one to look for psychologists if at all this individual needs some psychiatrist interventions or counseling interventions. They're the one to look for nurses if at all they need some dressing or some nursing care. So they're supposed to collaborate well with other care providers, for example, religious institutions, support group, health and social institutions, in order to ensure that these individuals receive the best care ever. Then another role is be able to volunteer or agree on other possible caregivers to be involved in providing the services in the family. This becomes shared responsibility on issue of referral and networking. So after they have collaborated, they need to be able to allow other people to come in into the family and help this individual. Because once you don't want to expose this individual to other people, if you seclude this individual into just a room or in just the homestead, because you don't want people to know that this individual is sick with a certain baby disease because they have HIV and AIDS, you'll not be able to help this individual, because they don't only need you, they need also other support from other specialized individuals. Learn to consult with the clients on matters concerning them. Don't force issues on them. Don't force care on them. You need to consult with them. How or what do this individual want? Or how do you want me to take or to make for you food? Do you want soup? Do you want hard foods? How do you want me to help you? You need to consult with these individuals on matters concerning them. If at all I don't want that nurse to come to help me, you need to consult with me. You don't need to force care on me or care services on me. You need to consult on the issues with the care between the caregivers as well as the individuals being handled. Then another role is involve the client in all care activities and any other family activity without discrimination. Majority of the patient, when they get sick, they're discriminated. They're not asked on some of the family ideas. They're not involved in decision making. They're just there to eat and sleep because they seem, or some family members see them as a burden to them. So you need to involve them in any decision or any activities that involve the family for them to feel a sense of belonging to the family. Then another one is emphasize the need to prepare for death as inevitable and sensitize the client about the importance of ensuring the continuing care of family members who are left behind. You need to ensure that you're preparing this person or this individual to die a peaceful death. And how do they die a peaceful death? They die a peaceful death knowing that whoever they are leaving behind is really taken care of and will not suffer because just merely I'm gone. So ensure that you emphasize the need to prepare, or you really prepare this individual and sensitize to them that whatever will happen after that will be okay with the family members and whoever is being left behind. Then another role, still under the family as well as the caregivers, is to encourage the help the client to write a will. And this will contribute to the previous point, where you need to prepare these individuals and ensure that they die a peaceful death, ensuring them that whoever will be left behind, whether it is their children, whether it is their family members, whether it is the husband, that they will be okay and they are really at peace with their death. So remember also that being present is a major support to these individuals. Be present for this individual. They really need your emotional support. Your presence normally contribute to the emotional support. So those are the roles that are normally given to these family members or the caregivers, and these roles will make this individual live a better life, or the life that they are remaining with. Then another category is the role of home care. And home care teams are normally supervised by medical doctor or a social worker and may be associated with a local health center or community organization. This includes home care teams. It will include people like community health workers. You can also include counselors. You can also include nutritionists. You can also include psychotherapists, physiotherapists. So these individuals will provide care still, or forms a team that normally provide, other than medical, other than clinical, other than other supports. They will other than these two supports, they will provide the other type of support. So the home care teams have the following roles. Number one is to manage AIDS-related and the client's disease-related conditions. All these opportunistic infections, we can also include nurses here because they will help deal with or manage the opportunistic infection that might come to infect this individual. Another role is to provide home nursing care. And home nursing care includes dressing this individual if at all they have wounds, ensuring that they take drugs well, providing injection if at all they need. So all these nursing care or nursing services are normally provided by these care teams. Another is arranging voluntary health counseling, HIV counseling and testing. You can test the entire family members, and by testing, you'll also have to counsel them in order to ensure that this disease have not spread across the family members. Another one is provide supportive counseling to both the family members as well as the individual who is having the disease. And lastly, refer the patient to the further specialized care, such as treatment, radiotherapy counseling, radiotherapy, counseling, and emotional spiritual support. So still, it's the work of this healthcare team to refer this individual to other specialized treatment if at all they require. And this can also be radiotherapy, it can also be counseling. If at all you're dealing with, for example, a cancer patient, if at all you're dealing with people that need counseling, if at all you need people that need spiritual support or even emotional support, you need to refer this individual to other specialized care. Then another role is educate these people living with HIV and AIDS, or the client or the family on HIV and other related diseases. So it's still the work of the community health workers, as I said earlier, to ensure that both the client and the family members and the community at large are educated and trained on HIV and their related diseases, so that they may be able to take good care of this person and also prevent themselves from getting the infections or the disease, and also to overcome myths and misconceptions that may lead to further spreading of this disease, and also that may lead to stigmatization, that may also lead to a lot of discrimination. So another role is arrange spiritual and pastoral care. Still, it's the work of the community health to look for spiritual and pastoral care for this individual, mobilize material support if this individual needs drugs, if the individual do not have food, they're supposed to look for food for this individual. If this individual require dress, require clothes, require whatever they need, material support they need, it's the work of the health team, or not health team, the home care team, to ensure that they have all that they require. Then another role is training the caregiver on the all HBC services, and the second last role is provide supervision of the caregiver. They're supposed to supervise the caregiver in order to ensure that whatever they're providing their patients at home is at par, or it's according to the guidelines given for the home-based care services. Then lastly, train the clients on how to take care of themselves. So it's the work of this care team to provide training to both the patient, family members, community members at large, that will help take care of these individuals well. Then we have the role of healthcare workers, and this will include nurses and doctors. You can also include psychologists, you can also include nursing, you are in a nutritionist, all these healthcare workers. So their role is initiate and market the HBC process by recruiting the people living with HIV and AIDS. They recruit them in the program of HBC, as well as prepare them for discharge. And another thing, before even their discharge, they need to train the caregivers on how to provide care, home-based care to this individual. So number one, they will recruit to HBC, the patient to HBC, prepare for discharge, because you need to prepare this individual. You just don't discharge them. Remember, they're not yet healed. So you need to prepare them, showing them or ensuring them that when they go home, they will still have the essential care that they require. And lastly, you need to train the caregivers on how to take care of these individuals. Then the second role is to prepare and educate the family caregiver for the caring responsibility at home. Then make initial diagnosis, institute relevant nursing and medical care, help identify psychological and social needs. So when they go home after you've discharged them, you still need to go once in a while to diagnose, if at all you're called in by the caregiver, to look at this individual. Maybe they have developed some signs and symptoms that were not there initially. So you need to go and diagnose as well as treat this individual according to the diagnosis you make. Then also the nurses or nursing care is also needed when they go home. So still nursing care will go, or nurses will be visiting these homes once in a while to take good care of this individual. Then it's also the role of the healthcare worker to diagnose or to identify psychological or social needs. So it's the work of the healthcare caregiver to also initiate referral and networking systems, which may change over time as the client condition and needs change. So it's still the work of this individual or this healthcare worker to initiate referral systems. For example, if this individual finds that this person who is suffering from cancer, or this medical doctor identified that this individual suffering from cancer needs radiotherapy, they're not the one that normally do radiotherapy, so they need to refer this individual to a radiotherapist in order to receive some radiotherapy care. If, for example, this individual will require some surgery, or will require some eye checkup, maybe you're dealing with a just merely a medical doctor. So if they identify that maybe the eyesight is being affected and they're not able to help this individual at that time, they need to refer this individual to an eye clinic for them to be checked better. So it's the work of this medical doctor to initiate these referral systems. Then lastly, care for the terminally ill depending on their wish. So for those at their last stages of living, the medical doctor need to discuss with the patient, how do you want me to help you? There's some individuals that they will say, I don't want this drug anymore, let me just die without using these drugs. So as a medical doctor at that stage, you're not supposed to force this individual to take the drugs if at all they don't want. So at the terminal end, you're not supposed to force anything. Just discuss with the client on what they want and then treat them depending on their wish. So that those are the role of the health care workers. Then we have the role of the community at large. And the roles includes accepting the situation of the people living with HIV and AIDS, avoid discrimination, avoid stigma. So when you avoid that and you accept, you'll be able to avoid all that, and then you'll be able to help this individual because we'll collaborate with other agencies or with other healthcare providers in order to help these individuals. Then another issue or another role is encourage the client to write a will. So it's still the work of the communities or the community, the neighbors, to help these individuals or to prepare these individuals in order for them not to leave behind burdens. Because if, for example, you're dealing with a large families where there are conflicts, if you don't write a will, if you're the head of the family, you leave a lot of conflicts behind. Then it's also another role of the community to identify own spiritual and pastoral needs. It's the work of also the neighbors surrounding this individual to identify the spiritual need of this individual. And once they identify, they can bring people that will offer this spiritual care. Then another role is be open to the caregiver and share any worries. So this will provide emotional support to this caregiver. The neighbor that will help you, or the neighbor that will support you, the neighbor that will share your worries with you, will help you have some emotional comfort. Then another role is take personal responsibility to prevent the spread of this HIV and AIDS. And this will occur only when you accept the disease and also accept the training that will be offered to you by the community health workers. So once you accept the training and the education, you'll be able to have a lot of knowledge on the disease, and this knowledge will help you overcome misconception, the myths, and beliefs about surrounding this HIV and AIDS, and by that we'll be able to overcome the transmission by, number one, advocating for behavior change in the community. It's the work of the community to ensure that whoever living in that community follow some guidelines, some unwritten rules and regulations, some morals. So the community normally condemn, especially in rural areas. You can't just behave the way you want. There is a way that the community normally advocate for behavior change if at all you don't have good behavior. So those are the role of the community in home-based care, comprehensive care. Then we have the role of the government, and the role of the government is to create a supportive policy environment. By they develop the policy and ensure that there is a very supportive environment where these policies will be enacted or will be placed into action. So they need to develop policies and guidelines on how the home-based care need to occur. For example, in Kenya right now, we have home-based care for people living or people having the COVID-19. So people having the COVID-19 nowadays have home-based care, and this for this care to happen or to be in place, it's the work of the government to come up with the policies on and guidelines on how the home-based care will take place in our homes, by ensuring that before a person is taken to home-based care, it's the work of the government to ensure that this person, wherever they are going, there is enough room for separation or for isolation, there is enough caregiver, or there is a willing caregivers. So all those guidelines are normally set by the government. They're not set by any individual. They only come or they're normally developed by the government. Then another role is develop and maintain the standards. Ensure that the standards set by the government, they are maintained at all levels. So it's still the work of the government to ensure that these home-based care standards that were set, for example, the one that I've given you for COVID-19, there must be enough room for isolation, there must be a willing caregiver, there must be no any person living with chronic diseases in the family. So all those are the standards under which the home-based care can occur in any home or in any nursing home. So it is the work of the government to ensure that these standards are met and are maintained. So another role is provide, coordinate, as well as coordinate training for the caregivers, for the medical doctors, for the nurses, for the community health. Is the work of the government to train them on how home-based care will occur, for them to be able to train the community at large. Then another role is provide drugs and commodities. So the drugs that will be used by these individuals, the commodities, the nursing kit, the whatever that will be required in this home-based care, is the work of the government to provide. Then lastly is to help in the formation of support groups, which in turn will lobby and advocate for the rights of the people living with HIV and AIDS. Support groups include, you can form groups, or the government can help you form groups, and these groups belongs to people that share common characteristics. For example, people living with HIV and AIDS can form, or the government can help them form support groups, and these support groups, they will enable this individual to share what they are feeling, how they are feeling, how the signs and symptoms are manifesting to them, and by sharing all this, they will both give them more knowledge on how to manage the HIV in them or the AIDS in them. It will also help them in emotional support, because once you share issues with a person suffering from the same issues, once you're able to interact with this individual, you feel some sense of belonging to that support group. We also have support group for people living with cancer, for albinism individuals, for a lot of people suffering from common issues. We'll also find support group of nursing mothers. So these support groups normally brings together people having the same or similar issues, or undergoing similar issues. So in order to succeed in the HBC, there is need to cooperate with all the care providers for the HBC in the community. There's need to be some collaborated or some collaboration between the care providers for there to be a success in the HBC. So there must be linkages all through across the care providers. So how do you link the patient to these support services? Number one, you need to help these families and these patients to identify the support they need. You need to go to that individual or the family and identify with them. We need some spiritual care. We need some nursing care. We need some support care on concerning money. We need all this type of care. So help them to identify the support they need. Then after identifying the support they need, identify with them who will provide this support. After you have identified the support providers, inform the patient about the existence of support providers. So you need to help them know that you can get help from this individual, from this psychologist, you can get help from this nutritionist, you can get help from this nurse, you can get help from this hospital, you can get help from this clinic. So by that you are showing them or you are helping them to know of the existence of these support providers. Then after you have identified these support providers, introduce these support providers to the patient. And then the patient at that point will choose the best support providers from whoever that you have introduced them to by evaluating these support providers. Then after evaluating these support providers and choosing the best one that they will meet their need, then you need to help these support providers with transportation or with guidelines on how to, or maybe with direction on where this individual is by visiting their homes. Then after already you've now linked with them directly, you need to follow up to ensure that there is condition. So after already you have shown the support providers the home of these or provided transportation to the home of these individuals or to the home of these patients, you need to also follow up in order to ensure that did the support provider you introduced this individual, are they working well? Are they working in a coordinated manner? Or is anyone doing whatever they wish to do on this patient? So you still need to follow up in order to ensure that this patient is being provided the help that they need. So that's how you link. You identify with the individuals and the family members the support they need. Then after identifying the support they need, you need to identify with them also the support providers that can help them with the support that they need. Then after identifying the care providers or support providers, then you need to also help them identify or they exist, or you need to help them know that there are some existing support provider that can help them. Then work with these individuals or work with this client or this family of the client to evaluate the best support provider that they need. Then after that, help these support providers to go to the home or to visit the homes of these individuals, and after that make sure that you follow up in order to ensure that there is coordination of activities. Then what are the advantages of HBC to the client? So the patient is cared for in a familiar environment. When you compare a person being taken care of by the family members at home and receiving all the care that they need, as compared to a person who is admitted at the hospital, the person who is being taken care of at home and have a willing caregiver will have a more quality services as compared to the one in the hospital. Remember, in the hospital we have many people being taken care of, for example, by one person, but at home it's only one individual. So they will be in a familiar environment, and this will reduce stress, will reduce anxiety, and they will help them feel that they're in a familiar environment. Then another advantage is that when people are in their homes, they continue to participate in family matters. When you're admitted at the hospital, you don't know how your kids are, whether they have eaten, whether they are going to their schools, whether they are. You're not able to participate in family matters when you are far away as compared to when you're near. Then when one is at home, another advantage, close to the family members and friends and relatives, there is a sense of belonging. You feel that you belong to this family more if you're closer to them as compared to when you're far away, admitted at the hospital. Finally, when one is close contact with the family, people they are likely to accept their conditions and illnesses. When you're near your family members, the family members will accept the disease more as compared to when you are at the hospital. When you are at the hospital, they are still in denial, and they see the disease as a very weird disease as compared to when you're near them. Because when you're near them, or when they're practicing home-based care, they will be trained, they will be educated concerning the disease, and by that they will overcome myths, misconception, or that the anxiety they had about the disease, or that the confusion they had around the disease. So by that, this will help them. This will really help them be familiar with the disease, and lastly, accept the disease. Then to the family, care is given in the home and can be less expensive than that in the hospital. You don't need to pay for hospital beds. You don't need to pay for nursing care each and every day. You don't have to use transportation to go to the hospital and pay a visit to this individual. So it's at least a bit cheaper when you're taking care of this person at home. Then another advantage to the family is that it makes it easier to provide care and support to the client while attending to other responsibilities. When a family member is admitted in a hospital, for example, if the hospital is far away, you're not able to concentrate on other family responsibilities. You're not able to go and farm well. You're not able to go and maybe do your shopkeeping well. You're not able to do your normal responsibility or normal activities well when the person is far away. But when they are near, you're able to take care of them and attend to other responsibilities. Then the third advantage is that caring for the sick at home prevents separation and holds the family together. Once family members are far away from each other, there is high possibility that the family will break up, especially when it comes to HIV and AIDS, where a lot of issues concerning fidelity and the likes normally surround that issue. So when the person is at home, the family most likely are bonded to each other. Then another advantage is that when family members are given education and information on disease, it helps them to understand their disease better and accept the patient. In home-based care, the family members must be trained and educated about the disease that the individual, the family member is suffering from. So this education will help them accept this person more. And also this acceptance will help them be able to help this individual. Then lastly, it enables family members to be present at the time of death. So when the individual is near or is at home, they'll be able, or they will be available when this person is nearing dying, and also when they are dying. So those are the advantages at the family level as well as at the client level. Then we have advantages at the community level. At the community level. So training in home-based care helps community members to be aware of various illnesses affecting members of their communities. So when this individual is at home, remember I said the community health workers normally educate the patient, the family, and the community at large. So when these individuals or the individual or the neighbors in the community are educated about this disease, they will be able to understand about the disease. They will be able to overcome a lot of myths and misconceptions, a lot of beliefs that surround in relation to HIV and AIDS. And by having this information, they will be able to overcome denial, stigmatization about the disease, and this will provide a means of prevention, or they will strictly follow preventive mechanism or preventive measures of the spread of the infection. Another role or another advantage, is the cost of going to visit a person who is sick in hospital are normally reduced. Normally, our neighbors normally come to visit us when we are admitted at the hospital. And maybe this hospital is far away. You need to travel. So this cost of also will help, or this will also help reduce cost of the visits to the hospitals when this person is living amongst you. Then another advantage is that it makes it easier and convenient to provide support when the person is near. You're able to provide more and more support to this individual. You can help their families. You can help this individual acquire maybe a better job. You can help this individual in a lot of ways as opposed to when this individual is at the hospital. Then another advantage is that community cohesiveness is normally maintained. When we have sick people in the village and these people are being taken care of, this, or the community members are taking care of these individuals, there is some sense of cohesiveness where people are able to understand each other and live a peaceful life together and relate well amongst themselves. So those are the advantages of HBC at the community level. What about at the healthcare system? In the hospitals, there is reduced pressure because people will be discharged out. And that's why the government of Kenya have adopted the HBC when it comes to COVID-19. Because once you have a lot of people being discharged to be taken care of at home, you're reducing amount of pressure on the healthcare team. And also you're reducing both the workload and also you're reducing pressure and on already overcrowded hospitals. We already have other diseases that are being treated, or other diseases that are normally being taken care of at the hospital. So if you have a way that you can reduce the pressure or reduce the amount of people that are being admitted, then you're reducing the pressure at the hospital level and you're also reducing the workload for the care providers. Another thing that I have already explained is that HBC normally improve the access to quality care. Because once a person is being taken care of at home, they're able to be provided quality care as compared to when they are in the hospitals. Another thing, when there is no hospitals near and the hospitals are very far away, home-based care system being trained, or the community members or the family members being trained about the home-based care services, they'll be able to provide good and quality care to these individuals, as opposed to when they travel a long distance to go and take and look for care in hospitals that are very far away. So those are the three advantages of home-based care on community, on the healthcare workers. Then lastly, or the last part of this lecture is the limitation of HBC. And this limitation, we are looking at them at the nursing care home environment. The nursing care home environment also belongs to the home-based care system. So nursing, I don't know whether you've ever heard of people or old people being taken care of at a nursing home. You can also have a nursing home taking care of people living with terminal illnesses. For example, when family members are not near, maybe are in America or all over the world, and there is no one or there is no any person that is willing to take care of this person at their home. So they're normally taken to the nursing home. So what are the disadvantages of home-based care in nursing home? Number one is shortage of health workers. Majority of health workers will prefer to go to work in the hospital as compared to the nursing home. Another thing is limited hospital beds. There are less beds or there is less space in home-based care. Another disadvantage is that it is expensive to put up a nursing home because you really need a lot of equipment. You need a lot of healthcare providers, and it's not that cheap. It is expensive to put up a nursing home. Then when you take a person from their home to the nursing home, you're separating them from their communities, you're separating them from the people they are used to live among. So you're removing a sense of belonging to these individuals. You're taking them to another different area with new individuals. So there is reduction of sense of belonging when it comes to nursing home. Then when it comes to nursing home, it's like they're in a hospital. They're not around to enter in and come out the way they wish. So there is lack of that freedom. When you are at your home, you're able to move in and out, whether it is at night, whether it is during the day, you're able to move in and out. But when you're in a nursing home, you're not able to move in and out the way we wish. So still, this nursing home normally reduce or causes lack of freedom amongst the clients or amongst the patient. So that's the end of today's lecture, unless you have any question, Meran. So any question or any comment, Meran?
I'm okay.
You okay? So then let's meet tomorrow for HIV and AIDS. So have a lovely day. Okay.